Patrick Willis played for the 49ers, great player in his day, 5-time All-Pro, and, of course, also played under Vic Fangio. He joins us right now. How you doing, Patrick?
P-Dub!
What's happening? How's it going?
Pretty good. First of all, I want to say happy belated birthday, man, because I know your birthday was yesterday. And I want to say I appreciate you. I reached out to him at the last minute, man. And I knew he was probably out there golfing or something. I had to holler at Spice to get his number. And he reached back out to me, man, and gave me a call. But, man, I just wanted to say, what you been up to, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing well. I cannot complain. Just grateful to see another year around the sun. And, just looking forward to another positive year.
Yeah, man. That's great. Like I said, congratulations. But we got Coach Fangio here now. And, there's been a lot of reports coming out of Miami about how people don't like him and all this other stuff. When you were with Coach Fangio, what type of coach was he?
Man, truthfully, I was a fan of Vic's. At the end of the day, I'm the type of person that, you judge a person by what they do on the field when that's their job qualification. And Vic, bar none, when I had him as a defensive coordinator, there was not a time that we were not prepared to go out and play our best football.
Patrick, what was he like in terms of the mentality he tried to instill in you guys? Because, we hear a lot, because a lot of teams have this Vic Fangio defense. A lot of his assistants have become coordinators. We had one here a couple years ago in Jonathan Gannon, and a lot of people would say it's not aggressive enough. It's a bend but don't break. What would you say? What was the kind of message he would give to you guys? Because I remember watching your Niners teams, and I always felt like you guys were an aggressive defense.
Yeah, I suppose, it just depends on the style of game or the style of defense that we need to play that week. But for the most part, I always felt that we just had a group of guys that were just hungry to go out and execute. Like, at the end of the day, I always felt like, the coaches coach during the week and players play on Sundays. And so as far as the aggressiveness or not, I trust Vic's mindset and his defense. And at the end of the day, if you got a squad that can go out and get it done, then there should be no excuses. You should know when to go make it happen.
You know what's funny, Pat? Because I've been hearing stories coming out of Miami again about how Vic rubbed guys the wrong way because, an example they gave was breaking down meetings and everything like that. Like, he would do one part of the meeting or something like that, and the other guy wanted to do another part. When you had him as a defensive coordinator, was he the type of defensive coordinator that talked throughout the whole meeting, or did he, parcel out different things for different coaches to do?
That's a great question. Again, I wasn't inside of that Miami's locker room or defensive meeting room, so I'm not sure how they orchestrated. But for us, I felt like, man, we had a very good dynamic group of guys. I mean, one of the things I can honestly say, and credit to Harbaugh, I was able to see what it felt like to have a group of guys that from head to toe that seemed like they were all aligned, meaning like there was no eye bigger than the team, and that's what I admired most about, being a part of that Vic's defense and having Coach Levitt. Coach Levitt was oftentimes he would say, listen, this is what Vic wants, and this is how we're going to install it. But if we have any questions or any of that things, bring them to me and we'll give them to Vic. And I always felt like Vic was very open to some of the things we had to say. Now, obviously, he likes how he runs his schemes or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I admired playing for him or whatnot. And so, that's credit to the guys I was with and also his coaching staff. So.
We're talking to Patrick Willis here, former 49er linebacker, of course, a 5-time All-Pro, played under Vic Fangio. Patrick, we were looking yesterday at Vic's career and the different linebackers he coached, and a lot of great ones, from the old days back with the Dome Patrol in New Orleans to you guys, and even Roquan Smith most recently in Chicago, who's turned out to be a great player now for the Ravens. Did you feel that was kind of his area of expertise? Because here in Philadelphia, Patrick, people love linebackers.
We need linebackers, dog. We need some linebackers.
We got to get good linebacker play. Did you feel that he kind of really helped you and knew that part of the defense, linebacker was his thing?
Yeah, I felt like, for the most part, you take who we were just as individuals, and then you add in, Vic's expertise of the game. And like I said, I just felt like there was not a time that we were not, prepared to go out there as a unit. And also, too, I pride that on who we were as players or whatnot. Like, again, we just had a group of guys that, were hungry and understood that, like, all right, if you say you are who you say you are, then, like, let's go out and get it done. And, I feel like, at the end of the day, we all won from that. And so, I'm not sure what it is that, they don't like as much or what it is that they want to paint of him. But obviously, he's their defensive coordinator now, and I can honestly say they got some defensive players, and perhaps if it's the same thing there and they don't get it done, then then who knows? But I'm looking forward to see what he's going to do.
Like, I'm curious, Pat, since I got you on the phone, because I never got a chance to ask you this, but you and Navarro Bowman, man, y'all cats played with an attitude. Were y'all out there competing to see who head y'all can knock off the quickest when y'all play football, man?
You know what it is? It's funny you say that, because I as I look back on it now, we had kind of like a little nickname we call like pain and suffering, and it's one thing to have pain.
I love that
name,
pain and suffering.
It's another thing. It's another thing that when you feel pain, but it's another thing to suffer like in having that pain. And I felt like in all honesty speaking, Navarro was his own linebacker. He was his own individual. However, together we played really uniquely together, and it was special. And I can honestly say I felt that he was the protege to me in the sense that, like, I felt that my time had came and he was the next in line to take that defense on as it was to be. And so it was a pleasure to play with him out there on that field along with all those other guys.
Bro, I tell you, I used to love watching y'all cats play, man. That was one of the highlights when we heard we talking to you. I was telling Joe, I was like, man, I used to love to watch those two cats play, man. Y'all put it down.
Hey, Hugh, I tell you, like, real quick, I was telling someone the other day, our first training camp in 2011, he and I roomed together, and it was the first year we were starting together. And I never forget just trying to, wanting to build that rapport. And you get that by, asking, beginning to ask people about themselves. Like, so, man, what was it like where you grew up at? And he told me about where it was like where he grew up at, how it was to be in the city, and how you had to be careful. Like, every time you walked around this corner, like, you was guaranteed a fight. And so just the way he was breaking it down, I was saying to myself, I'm like, man, you had to get it like that. And I started telling him about how where I grew up in the country, about, like, I'm like, man, we didn't have to worry about nobody, like, coming around the corner wanting to fight. We had to worry about these dogs chasing us or whatnot. And so we had to get after it like that. And so I say that to say he got it from where he got it from, and I got it from where I got it from. Being city boy, I'm country boy, and you put both those together, and we just had a commonality, and that was a hunger to go out and be the very best we could be. And I'm glad we was able to do that.
Yeah, it worked. You guys dominated. Patrick, I saw a couple weeks ago you were tweeting about the Eagles during their playoff game against the Bucs. Obviously, they lost that game, and this is the fallout since. So from a defensive perspective, I saw your tweets about the offense. What are you seeing out there? Because to us, they have the talent, and we saw it a year ago.
And it's fixable.
To be better offensively. What did you notice just watching the playoff game about the offense? Because it's just crazy to us that you have Hurts and Devontae. I know Brown didn't play in that game, but they have a lot of pieces on offense, and they couldn't move the ball in that game.
Yeah, it was unique. It was interesting to see, and again, I was just bumping my gums. That was only 2 cent talk from a retired player or whatnot. And but I say that to say, yeah, it was something interesting about the offense as I was watching it, and I didn't know if their whole scheme, because sometimes, like, whether teams want to admit it or not, your identity is either your offense or it's your defense, or both of them play so well, you like, what is the identity? And for me, I was thinking that the identity was going to be the defense. I thought the defense would do enough to go out and do enough to take over games to where the offense could just be as they are. Now, with the defense not being as strong as I thought they probably were going to be, I feel like maybe the offense wasn't not maybe built to be that type of offense where you can be the dominant squad. So, I don't know. I think again, it probably goes back, and I'm a biased person. I think it goes back to the defense. When you know that your defense is going to go out and dominate and get it done, there's something about your offensive side where you feel like, we got to come with it. But it felt like the offense was only matching the defense for the most part. And then as far as the defense, that's where I was a little bit more frustrated because I felt like, man, why are these guys like? Where's that hunger? Like, it's like you can tell a difference between somebody that's hungry and they're trying to get to that plate so they can eat, and then someone that's like, if I get there, I get there. If not, then
if it happens, it happens.
I don't think and that's scary. When you got a team full of guys that you're looking at, at any given time they can destroy. Like they can destroy a play any given moment, and when you're not seeing it consistently, you're like, okay, like what's up? Where's that? Why is the fire not there? And only they can truly answer that within themselves. So, but yeah, again, I feel like with Vic, having been at the helm of that defense, he has what it takes. Again, it may not be pretty and I call it like players coach ish vibes or whatnot, but he knows what he's talking about, and he's proven to be successful and can be successful, and so I don't see why he cannot with that defense.
Patrick, let's end with this, and we do appreciate you hopping on with us today. Your former team, Sunday, NFC Championship game. Patrick, we'll be honest with you. We're rooting against them. We got a thing with the Niners.
Yeah, I'm hating on the Niners.
Yeah, not so much your Niners, but this current version. We beat them, they beat us, so it's a little rivalry. So we're rooting Detroit here, but what do you think? Are the Niners going back to the Super Bowl, or you have a little fear of this Lions team coming in?
No fear. The only fear would be that they don't go out and play the way that they need to play. I feel like this is gonna be one of those games where I think they're gonna come out and dominate this game, and it's gonna be good. And then it's gonna be interesting to see how they do the Super Bowl. The Niners have played really good football. I just feel at times maybe a little inconsistent to have the kind of team that they have. Needless to say, they win though, and that's all that matters. And so this weekend they really gonna have it tighten up, and I think that they will. Unfortunately, I heard that Debo may not be in there, and sometimes that maybe mentally it can mess with the morale a little bit. But I think overall they still have enough to go out and beat this Lions team. But again, it's any given Sunday, so we shall see.
We shall. Patrick, we really appreciate you hopping on. Belated happy birthday, as Hugh said, and good luck with the Hall of Fame announcement coming up next month. We believe you're going to get in, if not this year, soon. Good luck with that,
Patrick.
Patrick.
Coming. It's definitely coming.
Good luck, Patrick. Thank you for hopping on.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a
there
good
goes
one.
Patrick Willis there. So that was a fun interview. A couple things that stood out. He was as disappointed watching the Eagles defense that playoff game as Ray Lewis. Like, there's something about great defensive players watching them play, like they're embarrassed. Like, what did he say?
No, because
he didn't
it's
want
like,
it. Like, what did he was embarrassed watching it.
It's because you're like, as a defender, even though you probably play for another team, you feel connected. It's just like I talk to my old teammates, especially the ones that play defense all the time. Brian Dawkins, there's been times where me and Brian have been talking during the course of the game where Brian's asking me questions like I'm on the sideline. What are they doing? And da-da-da-da-da, and like I can feel his energy.